Hi and welcome to Love Doing Yoga on this Monday evening. Hope you had a lovely weekend and enjoyed the sunshine and are looking forward to a nice week ahead. Our practice today is really focusing on the core and our theme is focus. So we'll be doing a bit of work, shall we say, today, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. As always, throughout the practice, listen to your body and only do what feels right for you today. So let us begin by lying down. Making yourself nice and comfortable on your mat. And as you just take a few moments to fully bring yourself into the present moment. Setting aside everything that's going on in your life and in the world. For the next hour, you have no roles, no responsibilities, nothing to do but spend this time connecting your mind with your body through your breath. And as you move into the present moment, just begin to focus on your senses, on your sense of hearing. Noticing all of the sounds around you, without identifying them, just allowing them to be. And then moving that focus to your sense of smell, as you imagine the scent of your favorite flower. Allow that scent to fill you as you inhale. And then moving that focus to your sense of sight, just noticing the screen at the back of your eyelids and what it presents to you. And then moving to your sense of touch as you become very aware of your connection points with the mat, of how the mat holds you, of the texture of the mat against your skin, the temperature of your skin, the texture of your clothes. And then letting that attention go to your breath as you inhale in through your nose into your belly and exhale through your nose. And then counting your inhale. As you inhale to the count of 4, pausing and then exhaling to the count of 8. Exhaling either through your nose or through your mouth. Inhale through your nose to the count of 4. Pause. Exhale through your nose or mouth to the count of 8. And 2 more times like this.
And we're going to call on that breath quite a bit throughout this practice. So bending your knees now, let the feet come onto the mat, and just rolling over onto your side. Bring yourself kind of halfway up, so you're propping yourself up with your forearms. So elbows under your shoulders, and bending the knees, lifting the legs up. Let's just crisscross them here. And you can let them move up and down a little bit as you go. Just letting the legs warm up a little bit. And then coming to stillness, letting the feet come down on the mat, lifting yourself up, and let those feet be a little bit away from you. So there's quite a generous angle at the knee. And we're going to just row the boat. And remember, the further back you go, the lower you let your back get to the ground, the more your core has to work to pull you back up again. So challenging yourself a little bit here as we keep this going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Hugging those shins. Take a little break. And then swing your legs around. Make your way up to stand. Standing wherever you want on the mat, with your feet about hip width apart. And raising the arms up over the head, clasping the fingers. Actually, just open the legs out a little bit further, so they're maybe 2 widths apart. And we're going to chop the wood here. So just to show you what we're going to do, we're going to swing down, let the arms come through the legs, and as they do, bend those legs and come up. So we're going to do that for 10, a little bit faster than I went there. So going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing yourself back up, and let's take it to the top of the mat. So bringing the toes together and heels a little bit apart. So what you have here is a nice straight line on the outside edge of your foot, and we're going to sit down into a chair pose. So that means your hips go back, but your knees try to stay as much as possible over your ankles. They'll come a little bit forward, but we don't want them all the way past the toes. Try to keep those knees back. Raise the arms up, looking in front of you. And take a breath. That breath, inhaling for 4, pausing and exhaling for 8. Then bringing the hands together, let the elbows come opposite each other, and take a little twist to the right. And let's take a breath here. Letting that left hand come down, stretch the right hand up, and take a breath. And then stepping that right leg back, you can rest your arm on the left thigh and raise the right arm all the way up past the ear and take a breath. Stepping that right foot back up beside the left. And still in your chair pose, raise the right arm and take a breath. Bringing the hands together in prayer, that left arm against your right leg, and take a breath. And then coming back into your chair for a breath. Palms together, taking a twist to the left this time for a breath.
Hi, sorry for interrupting your practice. I hope you're enjoying it. If you do like it, we'd love you to become one of our yogis here on Love Doing Yoga. And to do that, all you need to do is click on the link below. We send you 3 practices every single week for you to do at a time that suits you. And it's just €5 a month. So we'd love to see you join us on the mat again soon. Namaste.
Right hand comes down, left arm goes up. Stepping the left leg back this time. Hand can either stay on the mat or rest on the thigh. And take a breath. Stepping the left foot back up to the right. Back into your chair pose for your twist. And palms together. And back to your chair pose. Standing up straight and coming to the top of the mat. Good. Let's take a sun salute on each side. And all the time, because we're going to be doing a lot of core work today, whenever you think about it, and I'll remind you, just engage that core, lifting the pelvic floor, belly button in and up. So, starting with your feet hip width apart, in a nice straight line, equal weight on both feet. Standing up tall, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, just allowing that spine to lengthen out, raising the arms, palms together, raise the gaze. And coming into your forward fold, being generous with the bend of your knees. Lengthening the spine. And back to your forward fold. Letting the palms come down and stepping that right leg back as far back as is comfortable for you into your low lunge. And then through to your plank. And in your plank, just encouraging that core. One more breath. And coming down on the knees, feet, chest, belly, and then lifting into your little cobra. Very light with the hands here. And then pushing on up through your tabletop, adjusting your hands position if you need to, before coming into your downward dog. Just pedaling those feet there until you're ready to come to a point of stillness. As we take 3 breaths here. And then stretching out that right leg behind you, stepping it through or helping it along the way to come into your low lunge. And then framing that foot, step the left foot up to meet the right, forward fold. Bend the knees, coming all the way up, palms together, raise the gaze, take a breath. And once again, sweeping forward into your forward fold, that lower rib cage coming in contact with the thighs. And lengthening the spine or lifting halfway. Back to your forward fold for a breath. And let's step that left leg back this time to your low lunge. Yogi's choice, either looking straight in front of you or, if you prefer, looking up to the ceiling. And then through to your plank. Little micro bend in those elbows, keeping those shoulders over the wrists, heels over the toes. And coming down on your knees, feet, chest, belly. And peeling the upper body away from the mat. Then pushing it on up with the hands through tabletop, adjusting the hands as necessary to come into your downward dog. Pushing those hips to the back of the mat, gaze towards the belly button, and drawing your shoulders away from your ears. One more breath here. And then stretching that left leg behind you, stepping it through for your low lunge, your version. And then bringing that right foot up to meet the left, forward fold. And bending the knees, coming all the way up, raising the arms and bringing the hands down into prayer. Good, well done. So from here, once again, just check in with the feet, that they're nicely balanced in a straight line, equal weight on both feet. We're going to step the right leg back, bending this left knee so it's over the left ankle. Imagining we've got a wall running along the side, the left side of the body that we're trying to keep our knee against. Bring the arms into a T. We're going to hinge at the hip and then hover over this thigh. So that might mean you need to move slightly to the right. as you hover. And let's stay here for 4 more breaths. Letting your breath help you. If you're finding it a little bit of a struggle, let that focus be on the breath. And then bringing the hands down either side of the foot, stepping that left foot back, and bring the right foot forward. So again, having the right knee over the ankle, having your imaginary wall on your right side, arms into your T as you hover over this right thigh. And once you're in the pose, let that focus go to the breath. Not letting that mind get distracted by anything. Just keeping it on the breath as you count it. Inhaling for 4, pausing, exhaling for 8. One more breath. Bringing both hands down, we're going to step that right leg back into a downward dog. Taking 3 breaths here. And your downward dog is almost like a resting pose after that airplane pose. Just allows the legs to ease out a little bit. And from here, we're moving into a plank. So remember, engaging the core, lift the pelvic floor, belly button in and up. Draw those shoulders over the wrists, a little micro bend in the elbows. Stepping the feet back so the heels are over the toes. Good. Yogi's choice here. So if you want to challenge yourself, stay in your plank for now. If you're finding this a struggle, come down on your knees and then onto your chest, onto your belly, and we'll be down with you in a moment. Those of you looking for a bit more of a challenge, we're going to lower ourselves down. So keeping the elbows in, just let the body very slowly make its way down as one entire piece. And then from here, we're going to come into our baby cobra and then push on up into your downward dog once more. One more breath here. So we're going to do that flow a couple of times during the practice. So decide which way you want to do it or mix them up. So let's do that one more time. So it's in your head. So we'll go from our downward dog into our plank. Taking a breath here. Keeping that core nicely engaged. And then bringing yourself down onto the ground, whichever way you wish. Into your little back bend. And then making your way back up to your downward dog. So you'll probably have to walk your feet in a little bit. One more breath. And then bringing those knees down, opening out the feet, pushing back. If you find this quite difficult, you can open the knees out, let the feet come together. Letting the head come down onto the mat and clasping your hands behind you, just raise them up away from your back. Two more breaths. Releasing the hands, just swinging yourself around to sit. And bending the knees here, lifting the feet up off the mat. So you're just on your seat bones, legs up, and let the hands come out by your side. So the more your knees are bent, the easier this will be. The more straight your legs, the more your core has to work. Remember, when your core is engaged, lift that pelvic floor, belly button in and up to keep it engaged. 3 more breaths here. And then letting those feet come down onto the mat, hugging the shins, bowing the head, letting the spine just round out a little bit. And then from here, holding on to the toes. And once again, coming onto your seat bones to balance, and this time stretching the legs up. So again, work with your own body. Your knees can be bent, or you can straighten the legs. So whichever works for you, but nice long spine here. Finding that point of balance and bringing that focus now onto your breath. Ignore the pose, you're in it. Just focus on the breath. Inhaling for 4, pausing, exhaling for 8. One more breath. And letting the feet come down, swinging around on the mat as we once again go into our nice downward dog to plank flow. So coming into your downward dog, take a breath. Moving it into your plank, taking a breath. Making your way down onto the mat. And then taking a breath. Into your little back bend. Taking a breath. And pushing up through your downward dog. Really finding length in your spine here. Gaze towards the belly button. And bringing the knees down onto the mat. Open out the feet and come up onto your knees, keeping them about hip width apart. Hands onto the back of your pelvis, and let's draw a little arc with our nose and our chest, letting the chest open, letting a nice back bend happen, allowing the pelvis to just push forward. One more breath here. And coming to upright, come down onto your tabletop. So in your tabletop, hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, opening those hands out nice and wide with the index fingers parallel to each other. And let's stretch that right leg back and draw it into your nose, holding it in here. Holding it for one more breath. And letting that knee come down. Let's take that to the other side. With the left leg, stretch it out. And then drawing it in towards your nose and your nose towards your knee, engaging the core and breathing here. One more breath. And letting that knee come down, lowering yourself down onto your mat, face down. Bringing those hands either side of the chest. Drawing the forehead and chest away from the mat and then pushing on up with the hands, looking forward, releasing the shoulders. And taking 3 more breaths here. Keeping a softness in your elbows. And then lowering yourself down onto the mat once more. This time bringing the hands behind you. So we're going to lift up into a locust. So your forehead, chest, and legs come away from the mat. As we take 4 breaths here, really engaging the core to help you. And then lowering everything down onto the mat. Bringing the hands back down either side of the chest. And pushing up through tabletop into your downward dog. Taking 2 breaths here. And just check where your heels are. So they might be quite far away from the mat. See if you can use your breath to help you lower the heels slightly closer to the mat. So inhaling for 4. And as you exhale for 8, just encourage those heels to move downwards slightly, even a millimeter. Take 2 more breaths here and just see how you go with that. And then moving it into your plank. And then lowering yourself down, your choice in how, and come into your back bend. Pushing on up through once more to your downward dog. And again, as you breathe here, we're going to take 3 breaths here. See, can you again encourage those heels to get slightly closer to the mat. And coming down once again onto all fours. Bending that left knee, reach your right hand around. If you're able to grab hold of your left foot, do lift it up and press the foot into the hand. If that's not available to you, lift the left leg up, take the right hand and just point it towards the foot. Two more breaths here, keeping that leg up nice and high. So you're getting a really good stretch on the quads. And bringing it down as we take it to the other side. Engaging the core, lifting that pelvic floor, belly button in and up. And releasing the leg and the hand. Coming down once again onto your belly. This time bending both knees. And if you're able to reach your feet, hold on to them. If you're not able to reach your feet, again, just let your hands point towards your feet. And then if you like, you can lift the body and the legs up, the forehead and the chest, and the legs away from the mat. 2 more breaths here. And lowering the legs down. Once again, let's make our way up to our downward dog. And again, focusing on those heels, encouraging them to make their way a little closer to the mat with the breath. So all the time that focus is on your breath. And coming into your plank for breath. Lowering yourself down. Taking a breath. Into your little cobra. And pushing back up to your downward dog. And coming down onto your knees, swinging around to come and lie on your back. And just hugging those knees into the chest. Take a little moment here of movement, massaging out the back, softening the shoulders. Let the arms come down by your side and raising the legs up, just let the soles of the feet look at the ceiling. And we're going to stay here for 5 more breaths. Continuing to count the breath, inhaling for 4, pausing, and exhaling for 8. With all of your focus on your breath, directing it to any place that needs it. And then just beginning to cycle those legs. Just letting them ease out as they cycle. Keeping it going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, hugging them into your chest. And letting the feet come down onto the mat. Lifting your pelvis and spine away from the mat into a bridge. Engaging the core here. Letting the core do the work rather than it all happening in your glutes. Two more breaths. And once again, lowering down onto the mat, hugging the knees into the chest. Bringing the feet onto the mat once again as we lift up into a bridge, this time lifting up the right leg. Flexing the foot. And holding for one more breath. changing legs. Flexing the foot so the sole is looking at the ceiling. One more breath here. Bringing the foot down, lowering yourself down onto the mat, and once again just hugging those knees into the chest. And then letting the legs come out long, and drawing your arms onto the floor behind you for a nice full body stretch as we take 4 breaths here. One last breath. And then drawing your arms down by your sides, palms facing upwards for your final resting pose of Shavasana. Letting those feet just flop out to the side. And with your toes, squeeze your toes really tightly together. Squeeze them and hold them. And hold them. And release them. With your heels, push them as far away from you as you can. Pushing them so that your feet lift up away from the mat. You can feel your calves become tense. Your quads become tense. Hold it, keep pushing it, and release it all. Lifting your knees as though you're drawing them up towards your hips. Holding them here, feeling that tension in the upper legs, and releasing it. Engaging your glutes, drawing your cheeks together, holding them, holding it for a little bit longer, and then releasing it. Totally softening, easing out. Lifting your pelvic floor, drawing that belly button in and up. Holding it here. And then releasing it. Drawing your shoulder blades together like they're almost touching. Keeping them coming together, holding it, and then releasing it. Bringing your hands into fists, raising your arms just a little bit away from the mat as you squeeze those fists, bringing tension to your whole arms, holding it here, holding it, and releasing it. Drawing your face into a scowl, pulling everything into the center of your face, holding it in here, holding it a bit longer, and then releasing it. Releasing every fiber of your body, totally letting go. taking a little time for gratitude. Gratitude to your body, gratitude to your breath, gratitude to yourself and your ability to focus. And let that focus once again go to your breath. Breathing in through your nose, filling your belly before exhaling through your nose. And as you're breathing here, just beginning to connect with your inner self, your true nature. And imagine you're walking in a forest, noticing the sounds, the smells, the textures, temperature. And as you walk through, you see a little bit of light. You hear a stream. And the forest opens out to a beautiful stream. Find a place to sit here, listening to the sound of the water and the birds around you. And be at peace.